Hello everyone, I want to thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. You're going to find Commodore 64 and Atari programs available here for you. And more recently I've focused on the Commodore 64 with some basic tutorials, and I'm going to still continue designing that C64 game for those who are following that. I started with the sprite example and I ended up doing the ladders and all that, so we'll get back to that. But I'm going to take a hiatus here just for a moment back to the Atari for those devoted fans to the Atari, so that nobody would be left in the dark of anything here. So going to kind of focus on some graphics routines. I don't think I really went into a lot of detail last time to show you guys how to do basic graphics, but I wanted to kind of show you that, maybe to show you some other tricks as we go along. Okay, we're going to start from scratch. I don't really have anything in memory here already, so we're going to kind of go through it one by one here. I did show you the graphics 1 and the 2 modes for those who want to see it. I'll show it here again. Well, this thing is like on high speed or something. Can't figure out why it's doing this. Let's see. It's like the typing is really weird on this. I don't understand why it's doing that. Quick load state. I'm not totally familiar with Altirra for the Atari home computer, so if anybody else has questions about it, bear with me on that as I continue to learn about it here. I'm trying to see, though, what I'm doing is I've been kind of messing with these images and stuff like that. Now I can tell you a few things you'll want to know. When you first want to design programs with the Altirra emulator, you want to make sure you have the correct boot image. So you'll basically go to File, Boot Image, and you're going to need the appropriate ROMs. So these are the ROMs I have. You just saw these a second ago, but these are the ROMs that I have placed in the same folder where my emulator is here. So if I show you all types, you'll see it's right here. So right there is the Altirra. So you want to place all those in the same folder. Let me just open it back up again here. So you want to have, you don't need the Atari 5200 ROM obviously, but you'll need the Atari Basic. That's for Atari Basic. This is the operating system. I think one of these is probably DOS or something, but and the XL ROMs, which included a GTI chip and all that stuff. So you want to make sure that you make use of that. And basically, let me just show you how it works anyway. So we'll just boot up a regular one here, kind of to get us started from the beginning. Actually, it's already set up, never mind. So basically what you have to usually do is say boot image, and you select the ROM like that, and it'll load it into memory. I just select the first one, and that will do the trick. So let's go back to the graphics modes here. So we'll start with, you can abbreviate too by GRP1 like that. Graphics mode 0 is the one you're looking at right now, and it includes, I think it's a 0 to 40 text length across. So if you want to, you can poke into screen memory in any graphics mode. I'll show you that, and we'll set it up for each one here. So you basically just set the graphics mode. You access the high and the low bytes here. Oh, that high speed's driving me nuts here. Okay, so then you multiply by 256. And for those who want to see, I'll print SC and show you what it does here. See, basically that's the start of screen memory. So if I take that value, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I put a value in it, you'll see it starts screen memory right here. Now it's going to just basically poke data across the screen as you continue to write into it. I wanted to show you that so people understand that screen memory is what you can use to poke data characters, and it's necessary when you start getting into the other graphics modes later, that you want to be able to start, you know, initializing the screen and, you know, controlling the screen characters, plotting data and stuff like that. So let's do a quick example here. I'm just going to set up a little loop here or something. Actually, you know what, I need to, let me just go up to line 15 and just see something like this. Something like message or something. Okay, so that should be good right there, and I'm going to loop through. Keep forgetting with the Atari, you have to put spaces in the Commodore 64. You don't have to put the spaces, but you always have to remember to put the spaces on the Atari. So otherwise it'll give you error messages. Okay, so I have the first one here, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to poke into screen memory. And, oh, I almost forgot to put the message in here, so we need to, let's set up another line and put the message in. That 25 should be good. That's MS stands for message. So we're going to just print a little message. This is a screen message or something. Something like that. Okay, so we got the loop there. So this is going to loop through the message and get the whole length. So now, if I run this, I'll show you. It's going to give me an error probably. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, so I wanted to show you. If you take the LEN, which is the length, MS strings, it'll show you how long that string is. So it's 20 characters. So this is counting 20 characters for the message. So now we're going to need to plot it in screen memory. I usually do something like SC plus 20. Plus 20, that means you're going to start over here somewhere in the center of the screen. Now we're going to need to figure out how far down we want to put it. So what I usually do is, hopefully I do this right, 40 times 2. Let me just calculate that to make sure I don't screw up screen memory here, because it's really easy to poke into the wrong areas of memory, then your program goes into a lock mode, so we don't want that. Okay, it looks good there. So that should be good. And the 2 is just a test. So what we're going to basically be doing is reading this ASCII message. ASCII message. For those who don't know, this is going to read the message that's being printed on the screen. And I'll probably have to convert it here in a minute, but we'll see what it looks like. Just to kind of get an idea of it. Oh, it printed everything in the same spot. Forgot to move it over. That's because we never changed the screen position here, so we need to add this A to the end so it kind of moves it over. We're going to need to actually do a few different things here. So, well, I don't like it doing that. Like the speak cursor is on or something. It's really weird. See how it's kind of moving funny too? Now, why did that happen again? Okay, so what I want to do, 40 times 2, I was trying to insert. I forgot how to insert. My problem is I was trying to do it for the Commodore. Insert's different on the Commodore than it is on the Atari. So, okay, so we got that. Now we're going to add the A to it. It'll straighten out the text once you run it again. Okay, so it doesn't look like any message right now. But we need to convert it so that the screen will recognize what's going on. So let's do a little test here and kind of see where the screen mode is. Oh, that was a Commodore, my bad. 4000, 65. I think it starts at 33 if I remember correctly. Okay, so 33 is the A. So right now we have the ASCII character. I could actually do it this way and show you how it works. To kind of figure out which letters you need to do, you just say ASC, and then you put the letter in there, and it'll show you the graphic we need. I think we have to subtract it from 32 or 33 or something like that. It's 32. Okay, that's it. First guess, and I got it right. What do you know? So we're going to add and subtract it from this end part here, since this is actually keeping track of the characters that are going into screen memory. You'll see what happens. It'll convert it. There you go. That kind of printed off the screen. We just need to kind of reposition it a little bit here. So I'm going to back this one up a little bit. Put it to 10 or something like that. It should be good. There we go. Now it's kind of in. And it also didn't print the entire message. You may have noticed it didn't go all the way through. Let me back this up a little bit more again too. Let's see if I can remember how to. Great. I was trying to figure out how to delete the line there. So you have to hit delete, I believe it is. Let's see. it's delete. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so it's crashing right there. I mean, it's not crashing, it's just not getting the entire length. It reads 20 characters. Let's count it on the screen here next time it runs it and see what's going on here. Oh. Ready prompt is going to keep appearing on screen, so I need to push that down a little bit here. Just doing some playing with the screen so I can get the ready prompt out of the way here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So apparently there's more than 20 characters. Oh, I just now saw what it is, because I only initialized it to 20 up here. It was only seeing the 20 characters, so we'll basically just change this to a higher number, and that usually should do it. Now it'll print. There we go. Now we got our whole message on there. So that's how you get to print the screen memory. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to graphics mode here. And it'll still work because now it's going to be printing on graphics 1 screen. So remember, it's still keeping track of screen memory. You'll notice the screen memory keeps changing here. Because each graphics mode holds its own screen memory. I wanted to explain that to you guys. So you can do the same thing. In graphics mode 1 is the smaller text. Now since we're in graphics mode 1, I'm also going to add some special screen graphics here. So if you set this to lowercase, this will be one color. For how to inverse here might be okay. Oh, I remember how to do it now. So the inverse, so I'm going to do this message for the inverse. You hit the delete key, I believe it was. Well, it wasn't the delete key, maybe it was the N key. It's the N key. Okay. And just type in the text. You hit it again and it turns off the inverse mode. Okay, so that should do it there. Let's see what happened to that. Apparently it didn't like that, did it? Must be because this mode itself, when you set the inverse mode, it's actually looking at a higher... Let me run that and show you that. The inverse mode... now it's all doing it. Hold on a moment here. So actually the inverse in the lowercase mode isn't going to work on this because we're using screen memory. Now we could just do a regular print and you could see it, but I wanted to show you screen memory, how it's working. It's because these characters are different than these characters and they're stored in a different place in memory. So if I wanted to get that to work effectively, I'd have to... well, basically would have to calculate it out properly here. See how it's doing the last one now? And if you look at the program there, where is that? The last one is showing lowercase. So we got to leave it in all in capital letters for now. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so this program is going to teach you about screen memory anyway, and kind of like I said, a few other things about graphics modes. Okay, so let's move it up to... well, before I do that, before I go in, I wanted to show you how to make the colors on the screen. This won't involve screen memory, but I'm going to basically take this line here, reproduce it down here, and we're going to make it have the inverse and all that stuff, and so you can kind of see how it prints to the screen. So what we're going to do, we can leave that line the way it is. I'm going to probably just set up a new one for it. Since we've already got that one, we'll just set up a different line. Actually, up here where the dimension is. So right here, we're going to say TX for like text. And again, 30. And then 20 or 25 is going to be a duplicate, but we're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to make it like maybe 22 or something like that, or as I could do 28, and this will be TX strings. Now we're going to be able to change this stuff, make this lowercase. I guess I'll just change this one this time, make this one. Yeah, we could do that. And then I'll move over here, and we'll do this one in the uppercase. So you can see all the colors that are possible with the Atari. Now we need to print that to the screen. Since we're not using screen memory, we're going to print You see how you got this print SC? Actually, I'm going to use that line right there. Let's just take advantage of that one. What you're going to do is you're going to print number 6, and that will print the IOCB to the top screen there so that it reads it in the appropriate place. So basically all you have to do is say print TX strings, because it's going to remember what's in that variable anyway. If you print TX strings, you'll see it's basically all it's doing is it's taking that. Now you see how it changed the colors here, and then we still got the screen memory print below it. So okay, so we got that going. Let's move on to the next mode. This is basically going to make it, I think this one is the, yeah, this is the larger mode. Oops. There we go. It's just larger text, basically. Oops. Now let's move on to 3. 3 doesn't have any text. This is going to have the regular graphics. So you will still be able to we'll still be able to print, and you'll see what happens here when I do it. So let me show you. See, what you're looking at right now is the same screen memory prints you've seen before. This one is the number 6, and this is a screen memory print, but this is how screen memory actually looks at it. And it looks kind of strange, doesn't it? It's like, okay, what is that? So if we actually print SC here, we can just kind of play with it a little bit. We'll just say SC, 34, or something like that. And watch as I change these bits, you'll see that it changes the color graphics, or I think what's called the multicolors inside of it. This is how they actually establish multicolor too. So see how it's changing? It's just setting up wherever the bits are. If you ever seen my multicolor, like Sprite multicolor for the Commodore 64, you'll kind of get an idea of how this works. It's very similar. It's just basically looking at the bits and seeing how close they are together. Like 1, obviously you're not going to see 1. We'll do something like 2. 2 is like a little green square there, and then 3 should have the, yeah, it's a different color actually. 4, okay, now you got the orange. Okay, there's 1. I was trying to get 2 colors side by side like you see down there. There you go. So that goes into the multicolor right there. So you see that there's actually 2 colors, but it's all in the same line still. But because there's a 1 and a 5 together with that little 1 or 5 and a 1, the one beside it is going to make up the multicolor bit. Let's see what happens if I do 7. Yeah, it just changes the multicolor. Okay, so the point of that wasn't showing the multicolor. Let's show you what this screen's all about anyway. It's all about drawing on this one. So let me turn these messages off for now. We're not going to need to print any messages here. I'm just going to kind of remark them out here, which means they won't be read. Whoops. Okay, let's practice this. I think it's shift insert. No, wrong insert. It'll take me a few tries to figure out how to do this. So maybe it's this. There we go. Same thing with this one. And this one. And finally our necks. We don't want to leave that in the dark. Oops, I hit the wrong one again. Is it shift? Maybe it's shift. It's not shift. So I'm not used to the key combinations. Bear with me a second here, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to shift this. Is it not that one? Maybe it's caps lock. Oh, it's caps lock. That's what moves it over. Okay, there we go. Okay, now it should be blank. Oh, there's a little bit left over here. Oh, because I got this one right here. No, that one's off. Oh, the poke is still on there. I see it. This line is still active, so we need to turn this one off. There we go. Now it shouldn't show anything. Okay, so now we have a blank canvas that I can work from here. Just to kind of show you some of the drawing and stuff you can do. Now, I have showed this before in older Atari videos, but since this one's kind of reboot here, I'm going to show you. You basically have 3 color modes. So you have color 1, 2, and 3. Well, you also have the background color, which is 0, but nobody's going to see black unless you're erasing something. So you can kind of use this to draw colors across the screen. In the old days, I like to do like tricks with it and stuff like that. Let me kind of show you one here. 40, step 3. Okay, I'll draw this across the screen. A, comma, 0, which means it's going to be drawn from the top part of the screen. And we're going to draw over at A, and we want to draw all the way down to the length of the screen, which I think is 39. Next day, let's see what that does. Oh, I did something wrong here. Maybe it's not 40. I seem to be going off the screen down below. That's what it's doing. So it's not 39. It must be 19. Oh, it's 19 down. That's right. I remember now. There we go. Now you got lines drawn across the screen, and now we'll kind of draw them down from the top this time. Kind of make like a little graph here. So you just basically, this time you're going to be, we'll set this up as B. Doesn't matter what variable you use, it's just a matter of drawing it. And this one's going to go down, how many steps you want to go down. And then you just kind of plot it. This time we're starting at 0, and we're going to be drawing a B. I'm going to draw it all the way across the screen, or all the way down, excuse me. So we're plotting at 0, so we're plotting down to 19, right? On B. I'll check this to see if that's right here in a minute. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I just didn't draw far enough across the screen there. I also want to change the color mode on that one too. I'll show you the color. Basically, you just take on another line and insert the color above it here. So we could do something like color 2. And then we want to change these lines here because it's not drawn all the way across the screen. It's drawing down. Let's see. This one right here needs to change. There we go. Now see how I kind of drew a little graph there? That's the kind of stuff you can do. You can draw on the canvas there. The other modes are, there's going to be some other modes I want to show you. They're just going to get smaller and smaller as we go through them. There's a graphics 4. I think it's kind of identical to 3, except it's going to be, you notice it's just, oh no, this is the one that has fewer colors, I forgot. This one only has, I believe, 2 colors, the background and the orange. Let's test it to see. Oh, you know, I can't draw in immediate mode, I forgot. It won't let you draw in immediate mode. Yeah, it would have colored this in if it were working, so let's move on to the next one. So graphics 4 was never really used often. Now 5 was. 5 has 3 colors, or 4 colors counting the background. See? You notice how it's just getting smaller and smaller. These are all the graphics modes. I want you to know that they're all accessible and you can use them. Alright, let's go to 6. I think this is another one with just 2 colors. Yep, 2 colors on that one. I wish I could turn off that irritating speed. Must have been something I clicked up here or something. Let's see, warp speed. Let's see if that changes it. Oh, that's like a really fast speed. Okay, so let's turn that off. Pause when inactive. I'm just trying to see the options that are set here, guys, just for a second. Sorry to interrupt your vertical sync. I wonder if that's for. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be changing it much. Okay, so let's go back to 10. And 7 is another popular one because it has 3 colors too. Alright, and they're just getting larger and larger across, so you'd have to be drawn farther across to see the whole screen drawn on. I'm just kind of showing you, as we're going through the graphics modes, how it's changing each one. I could set up a program to draw in each graphic mode, and I'd originally done that way back in the days, but you can actually look them up, and I can even show you this book here. I noticed this book that I got on eBay actually does show all the graphics modes. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but if you look right there, see, this one is graphics mode 6 or 7. And if you look at the lines there, you see that they go all the way over to 159. So that one draws over to 159, and it goes down to like 95 there. So they just get bigger and bigger as you go through the graphics mode. I just wanted to show you that's kind of how it's drawn. It's just kind of drawn on the screen there. So we're going to get into some other interesting graphics modes here in a minute. Okay, I just want to get you through these. Now this one's a popular one. This is the high resolution color graphics mode. It only has one color, but you can actually do some mixing of colors or interlacing. I think they called it interlacing in the days. I didn't notice my camera's out of focus. Alright, let's see if I can get that thing to come back here. I had to change the settings on this thing. It kind of keeps getting thrown off here. It would let me change the settings. Right here, just scroll this, and I think that'll do it. Kind of resets itself. There we go. All right, I know you're not gonna be staring at my face the whole time, but I can see that it's a little bit blurry still. All right, well, anyways, this is graphics mode 8. Now, graphics mode 8, I know it goes up to 312. I didn't want to start changing all these because then graphics mode 1, 2, and 3 won't work again. Because you have to set these to each individual mode for it to work properly. The whole video isn't to show you that. It's just to demonstrate that there are other graphics modes you can use. But I wanted to show you this 8 because it's 8 is pretty fancy. So how do I sort that again? Remember how I insert this again. There's caps lock. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw it over to 312. That might give me an error, but let me see. It'll let me know. No, it actually worked. Okay, so as you see now, it drew all the way over there. And then what's down, was it 192? So we just changed this line down here. Actually, this one, my bad. This one's going down, so we'll change this one. 192. Oh, no, I didn't go down far enough. Let me just look at this again. 312. This is, oh, this one is the one I need to change. This is only going over to 19. I need to change this to 192. So I need to match up everything from the top to the bottom here. This one's drawn over 39, so this will be 312. That should do it, I think. I went too far down. Maybe it's not, let me see. I won't even tell me what B is. So maybe it's not 192, maybe it's something else. Let's see. Look it up in a book here, probably. Might as well since I got it, right? Okay. Okay, graphics mode 8 goes up to 192. Must be drawn past the screen limit, so let's set this to like 190 or something. There it goes. Now you can just draw all the way across the screen. And then I'll draw it down. It should draw down after that. There it goes. You can kind of see it. It's pretty fine resolution. You can kind of see the pixels in it right there. You can kind of see it a little bit better if I turn the screen off. So, okay, so let's go into the next graphics mode then. So this is where it's going to throw me off because if this one isn't 312, it's going to give me an error message. It's not 312, so what is it? It's 82, okay. Is that one I could actually print it out and figure out what it was. So this will go over to, I'll just set it to 80, I guess. It looks like I drew it down far enough. Let's throw an error message in that line. Oh, this one down here, I forgot. 190. No, that's over, so over, oh, 80. Oops. Yeah, get used to how to erase this stuff now. I think it's shift. It's not shift. I think it's control. It's control. So you have to hit control and you have to press delete to get that delete option to work there. This should hopefully do it. Huh, now what? Well, let's see, where's B going? Over to 190, maybe 190 is too far down. See, this one goes over to 80, 0 to 190, no? See, it gets through the first sequence and then it crashes on the second one. So it draws a line across. This one is going to be drawing them down. So it goes from B, it goes 1 to 190. But here we got 190. I don't know why that one's not working. I'm going to back this one up a little bit here. I'll try to eventually figure out what the range is that it's needing. It's probably that 80. There it goes. Now I wanted to show you this one because this one has a lot of pretty cool colors in it. So I'm going to introduce all the colors here to you. Let me show you some tricks with this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to increment these colors. And I'm going to need a new variable here and stick it inside of the color here. So for 70, we're going to say color. Let's see. I usually just use C. And then we're going to increment C. So we can start cycling through those colors, basically. I'm going to do the same thing to 105 here. And that should do it. Okay, what happened to my color? Oh, this one doesn't have, I forgot, this one doesn't have, this is the luminance of the grayscales. So this one isn't really going to show you much. Now I also need to go to this line for you to see what's on the screen because it goes back to graphics 0 otherwise because there's no text window. You can kind of see it there, but if I break it then you're going to be able to see once I get out. So I figure out how to break. Oh no, how do I break out? I think it's just break. So I start pressing keys here. And maybe I should have practiced with this because now I can figure out how to break it. Pressing every key. Oh, great. This is one of those things I hate when you're unprepared for stuff. Okay, maybe I just wasn't, the screen wasn't active or something. I think escape would be the break. Hit the F1 keys. Nothing seems to be responding unless my keyboard just died. Let me test my keyboard. Sometimes my keyboard ends up dying. Okay, so my keyboard's fine. I don't know what happened here. I wanted to teach you guys all about this, and now I locked up the whole program here. Maybe we can just restart it over, but it's like, what a bummer. Wonder if I could, you know what? I know what I could do here. I could do, I didn't even think about this. I could do a warm reset. That will bring us back to the code there. The warm reset is a way of hitting the reset button without losing the program in memory. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's go change the graphics mode. And I wanted to show you this next graphics mode. I used to use this one a lot. Graphics mode 10. Has a little bit more colors in it. As I can see the colors. But don't know what happened to this one now. Alright, what happened to my colors here? I'll take this line off so I can kind of test where it's at. So our colors are changing right in here. Oh, I see why the colors are changing. They need to be inside the loop, and here I stuck them outside the loop. It's only going to be changing them one time, otherwise it's never going to be able to see anything else. So you have to stick those inside the loop for it to work. Now you'll notice this time I stuck it inside of the for loop. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. 105. 105. We're going to stick that one at 115. And get rid of 105. Now it should work. There we go. Now you can see the colors. There we go. Kind of pretty, huh? So that's the color modes you get for this one. It's got 16 colors, actually. And this is kind of skip spaces. I could, you know, make these spaces smaller here so you could probably see it better. I think you can do something like 1.5 or something too. It's also drawing other colors here that you're not seeing. The reason why you just erase the screen, you might be wondering why you just erased the screen like that. Because color 125 is a clear screen color. So just like if you type CHR strings 125, it'll clear the screen. So color 125 does just the same. Let me show you real quick here. For those who didn't know. If I just go here and I just say color 125 and then plot 2, 2, it clears it. So just a way of clearing the graphic colors. I said it actually clears the whole screen there. Okay, so let's move into the next graphics mode. Graphics 11 is the one I was going to show you. That has 16 colors. The one I just showed you, I think it only had like 5 colors or 6 colors or something. This one's really neat. I always like this one. Isn't that cool looking colors? They did a lot of the micro painter screens were pretty common on the Ataris back in the days. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to a text mode here. It's going to look like graphics 1, but you're going to notice something is different. Actually, we're still drawing on it, I forgot. So now that we're in the graphics mode, we need to switch off this drawing part. So I'm trying to figure out a shortcut to do this, because I'm going to be remarking all these lines out again. So we want to turn all these back on, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just go back here. We're going to turn that one on. This one, going to turn on screen memory so we can see the graphics. That should do it, and I think at 65 I'm just going to stop or something like that. There you go. So what you're looking at now is multicolor mode. For those who ever wanted to know, multicolor is where you see more than one color inside of the text mode. So I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it, which is the next graphics mode, graphics 13. There you go. Now it's a little bit bigger. It also handles lowercase mode too as well. And you can even, the thing that really cool about this is you can actually go in and you can change these colors. See how that one looks a little bit different? Because it controls the multicolors based on these luminances. Or whatever you change it. That's kind of like a red there. 710 does the window, but it changes another color too. See? So now it looks a little bit prettier. I used to do that pretty common in the days. Sometimes I'd make like a game screen title message or something like that. So it's kind of things you can do there. Okay, so and I don't think 14 has any use. Let's see what it is. I think it's just another graphics mode. Yeah, it's just another graphics mode with no colors on it. And then there's 15. Yeah, 15 is another color mode. So okay, so the next thing you'll want to know and pay attention to here is whenever you want what you saw when I demonstrated that, go to, and I was going to the same line so that you could see graphics 9, 10, 11, so they wouldn't jump back to here, graphics mode 0. What you want to do is you want to take that graphics mode and you want to add a 16 to it, and that will get rid of the text window. The only thing is you have to go to that line or you're not going to be able to see it. And I'll have to do a warm reset here again. So now you're looking at graphics screen with no text window. So that's what it used to like on the title screens back in the days for the Atari. That was pretty common to do that a lot. I don't want to cold reset. I'm going to lose everything here. Stay away from that one. Okay, so same thing with all the other modes. If you add the 16, it's just going to get rid of the ones that don't have the text window. See, now it's kind of like an open. That way, if you don't want the text window, you can print in full text mode. I used to do this a lot in a popular day, especially like when you're doing like redefined characters and making your own game. Get rid of the text window. That's pretty common. And then just sometimes usually just write your own display list in or up here. Display list so that you can change your own graphics mode. So we're not going to do that because that's not the whole point of this video. It was to show you the graphics modes and the screen memory. So you saw how screen memory went through and it poked in the other modes. Each one of them does have its own screen memory, but it's really effective when you use it like graphics mode 0, 1, and 2. That was where it was real common on the Atari back in the days. So let's spice this up with just a little bit display list. For those who know about them, we're just basically going to change the background colors. We're going to change the background text by poking into those appropriate areas. Okay, now since we're using graphics mode 2, we'll need to poke this to the upper screen there. So let me go back and list this again. So we did the first one now, it's just at like 35 or something. So poke DL, and you just find out how many lines down you want to draw. You want to go down below, I think it's 3. If you don't, it's going to hit the, what's that called, the vertical blank interrupt or whatever. I forget that. There's a low memory scanner or some other line that you're going to hit, and it's going to mess up the whole screen. So I usually do something like 7, and then 130 or something like that. There you go. Now this text mode here, you can actually draw it in, and this is graphics mode 1, or 0, excuse me. So let me plot to that section, and I'll show you. I have to kind of figure out where it is first. We're going to do some playing around and some guessing here, and I'll show you how to position text next. Okay, so we'll use 32, and you're going to use position. That will position the text. However far you want it to be over. We'll just set this one to 5. I'm going to guess it's about maybe 4 down. And then we'll just print in test or whatever. Oh, I made a mistake here. So let me actually show you what I did wrong. Go back and correct that. what I did is I just printed here a question mark test, but I didn't use the number 6. And when you use that without the graphics mode window, it will automatically default back to graphics mode 0. That's what you just saw a second ago there. So let me go ahead and insert this like that. Now it'll work. Okay, I still didn't hit the line, so I need to probably go down maybe another line. That's pretty close. That's line 5, it looks like. So let's move it down to line 5. And then that should do the trick. Oh, actually, not this. I need to move the position. This is a screen message, I don't even know where it's printing my text at now. Let me do another test here so I can kind of see what's going on. Oh, I see. It's actually drawing it down here, so I need to bring it up 2 actually. So it wasn't down, it went down too far, so -2 will do it. So it's 3. There we go. Now you can see it's actually in graphics, even though it's way over here. It's in graphics mode 0, and it's mixed in with the graphics mode 1 text. So let me actually go ahead and go back here. F5 is the shortcut, so I'll remember that one. I'm going to set this one to 0 so it kind of centers it. Okay, so what this is doing is actually reading down on the next line. So if I wanted to move this over here, I would have to subtract this by line 1 and set this to probably to about 30 or so. Because that's the reason why is because graphics mode 1 versus graphics mode 0 has less, what do you call that, less size on the dimensions. And graphics mode 0 goes from 0 to 39. So it's trying to make up for the loss of the room, basically. Let me go back to that. Was it 32, right? I'll show you. So 32, let's see how that works. Whoops. Maybe it's not going to work because it's not, the screen's too long. Okay, that worked actually right there, so that moved it. So let's move it back a little bit more, now that we kind of know where it is. Just so I can get it centered, so it looks pretty. So maybe 15 would do it. There we go, looks pretty good now. So it's right in the center now. So you see, we can change this line here above too, using, again, a display list to change the line. So let me show you how to do that. This will be a repeat and kind of a recap for those people who already know about how to change display lists for the Atari. But I wanted to kind of introduce this for people who are asking questions about it. So yeah, I think it's plus. I know if I go too high, it's gonna conk out on me here. Let me just kind of play with it a little bit, see where it goes. Okay, so I need to bring it up 1 more. And I also need to put the right mode on it. So. And it's 132. Oh, see, that one didn't work because it's already running into the display list part. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that here. So you can't really poke it into this location unless you're going to be setting the high and the low bytes to point to screen memory. I mean, I could still show you later how that works. But you basically have to go ahead and look at screen memory, or I'm sorry, display list. Screen memory is saying there's a display list to really see what's really going on. So when you print DL there, you can actually loop through it like this. We'll just make it go to about, I don't know, 25 or so. See if we can look at the whole display list that's going to show up on the screen here. You need to say DL plus A And then I just add little commas in here so it looks kind of pretty. The next day. Okay, so this one's not going to show anything, so I probably have to take it farther. There you go. You can kind of see these are the lines it's picking up in this split list on the screen there. So, all right, so let's go back here. We can't use 5. So we're not going to be able to affect that line, but we can affect the line below it. So let's just change that to 8 then. And it'll just pick the next line below here. So see how it changed this one now into that graphics mode I showed you earlier, which was, I believe, the graphics mode 2. Or 12, excuse me. So that's how you go ahead and you manipulate and change the graphics mode as you're going through it. And again, we can still change those multicolor by changing the pokes, the luminances, and the colors. So let's do that too. Just so it kind of looks nice. So let me see. Trying to find another line to sneak in here. So poke 708. It was 240 I used before. That's kind of like the green. Okay. And F5 is the shortcut. Alright. And we'll change the other one too. 255. 55 I think it was. There, it's kind of like a red now. And see how it changes the other colors? Because it's still going to affect these colors and change these colors. But I did this so you can kind of see this one a little bit better. Although this one is kind of, you know, blocked out now. Harder to see that one, basically. Okay. Alright, so select the 12. We'll probably have to set this to like 65 for it to be a little bit brighter, and let's change the 710 to like 200 or something. I think that might get a, yeah, it's kind of like a green now. See, that's how you're changing the colors, basically. I don't really like that one. I don't know if you guys do, but I didn't. It's not like the way it looked. That's like a purple there. You just have to kind of keep playing with it until you get the right colors that you're looking for. That one's not bad. You can kind of read a little bit there, so you can read the middle line, and you can still read this one, as well as the text above it, of course. Okay. So that's basically it for the graphics modes there. Let me see how long this video is now. I forgot to even turn on my camera. I use my camera to kind of time how long the videos are, because when I'm using Camtasia, it doesn't really tell me how length and long they are. That's why I've been recording my camera, but I forgot to turn it on this time. So I can't really tell how long it is. I'm going to go a little bit further. I hate to do 2-hour sessions. People really go crazy when I do those long sessions. But I think I've covered most of the graphics stuff I could really show you. Wanted to kind of keep this detail-oriented to the graphics modes. We can go ahead and still change the graphics mode again here. Now when you're doing the 9, 10, 11, you obviously don't need the 16. See, it still checks here and changes the display list in the background there, so it'll still work on every mode. 11. See how it's printing text on the graphics mode screen? That's what's really cool about that. Look, it actually printed text. If you look at it real carefully, it says this is a screen message. The reason why that's working is because it's changing the display list on that line, and it's referencing graphics mode 12, which is actually text. So that line alone would only be text, and everything else would still be graphics. Let me show that to you by turning on the graphics mode again here. So I got 65, go to 65, so I'll need to stick this down here or something, just to kind of show you how that works. It's going to clear the screen now, but you'll see it. See how it's just drew across there? I'd have to bring this down. Lines a little bit more so it doesn't actually clear the screen, so you can see a little bit better. And he was going to clear the screen there. I like the rainbow effect though, that's always neat. But let's get that to work, because I know people are probably going to ask me about that. So just take a little bit of work, you know, kind of toying with the program here a little bit. So this is basically drawing the lines over. So this draws it at 0. So we need to move this one down so it doesn't erase that line. So I'm going to probably put it maybe 10. This one draws the lines all the way down, so we also need to change the down on this one, which starts here at 0. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that's at B is where it draws down. So this one I need to change. Change this one to 10. And we also don't want color 125 to clear the screen, so we don't clear our text. So we're going to set a trap on the C here. And what I usually do is stuff like this. You just say, if C is greater than 16, because I know there's 16 colors total, then we're just going to reset it backward. And do the same thing down to this one. If color, so basically if color is greater than 16, then reset it. That should take care of it. Hopefully I did it right. There we go. See, now it's drawn underneath the message. And it won't erase this time because we're not coloring 125 to erase the screen. So now you can see the whole thing there. We can still change this text here on this line and make it bigger just by changing that display list line, which is line 35. I don't know which one is affecting it, this one or this one. I'm just going to play with both of them and see. Change this one and see what happens. I think that's the one above it, so I need to change the other one, it looks like. It's actually the lowest one, am I thinking, so. This is the highest, and this is the lowest one. So I'm going to change this one right here. I think that would do it right there. Can't tell if it made it larger or smaller or what it did there, so. Let's try it again here, just to kind of play with it, so you guys can get used to playing this with yourself. Let me see if I change this to 130, what happens. I guess you can't really change it. I was trying to see if I could add graphics mode 0 and trick it into mixing with this mode. I don't think it's going to work. Let's try 136, what that is. Yeah, it's probably not going to work. Worth a shot though, right? Now just to make sure this line is being affected by this, I'm going to turn this one off for a second. See if our message goes away. See, our message is gone now because we're not using a display list to change that part of the screen anymore. So right now it's still looking at only the graphics mode, what was it, 11 or 10 or whatever that is here. So it's looking at graphics mode 11. So now if I go back here and turn it on, then obviously you're going to see it again. So. Let's see if I change this like 129, see what happens. No, I guess that's the only text you can really add into this one. It won't let you use any other text. I've already tried them all, so. It doesn't really care about any other numbers. Seems you put in there, it just. Well, that one kind of shifted the screen. Look at that. That's because it changed the resolution for the, what would that be, the horizontal, and it shrunk it. That's why it kind of shifted it over like that. And that's just what those are basically doing, is they're looking at specific graphics modes. So you can kind of keep playing with them and see it as it changes, as it keeps going through it. So that one's kind of the same. Sometimes you get pretty fancy stuff when you get in there and start messing with it. That's why I made that one that kind of scrolls through the display list and the assembly language before, to kind of show you guys what can really go on when you start manipulating the bits inside of there. It's really cool though. There, now it's kind of back to normal there. Alright, I think I'll just go ahead and probably end this video. I wanted to add more into this, but I think that'll give you a start how to go ahead and start mixing up your graphics modes and use your screen modes and kind of stuff like that. Now I'm still going to go back to focusing on the Atari because people really want to see that game going that I've been working on, so I'm going to do that. But or the Commodore 64. But I still want to be also faithful to the Atari users and let them not think that I've abandoned them in any way. So that's why I decided to start doing the emulation stuff. Now, if I ever figure out this emulator, I'll probably do a demo on it. But right now, I still don't honestly know how to even save anything to this. If anybody can give me a clue on it. I've already tried everything. I tried like save here, and just nothing seems to want to work for me. And I don't know how the disk images work on this one versus the WinVice. All right, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and definitely feel free to subscribe, and I'll keep rolling out those videos. Have a good one.